Aloha and welcome to Spirit Chat Radio. So, I wanted to do an updated energy report. Everybody was super stoked about my last podcast now that I'm kind of back in the podcasting room. Um, and I just want to remind everybody who's listening, or if you're new, this podcast is brought to you by Empath University. So if you're wanting to learn more about spirit communication, anything like that, that's where I have a lot of classes. And also I have some free stuff over there, so you might want to check that out. I'll put the links below. But we are dealing with some crazy energy, and that's why I wanted to do an updated energy report. Last week I did one on 4 signs of dimensional shifting, but during this time we're also going to be having our influxes, and everybody loves the energy forecasts because it gives them an idea of, am I just crazy or what's happening? Is everything nuts? Am I nuts? What's going on? So it gives you kind of an idea of what's going on energetically, which is helpful when it comes to being sensitive and having your psychic senses be higher and being so sensitive to the energy which is going on around us. It's helpful to understand that it doesn't feel like it's just this emotional or physical tornado that you yourself are just experiencing. It helps you to understand and to be more aware that it's encompassing a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of your environment. And why that's helpful, you may just be like, oh, I just feel better now. But there's an actual reason that that's helpful for you. When you're understanding and able to observe that this same situational energy is going on not just within yourself or within your own personal environment, but it's also affecting other environments around you. It's a universal energy. It's encompassing a lot of people and a lot of things. It allows you to separate from the energy better. That's one of the things that we teach about, or I teach about in the classes, is when you are super sensitive to energy, you really need to become well versed and well trained in learning how to separate yourself and categorize energies that are not just in your personal environment. And when you are super sensitive, you are dealing with a lot of energies that are not in your personal environment. And so in order not to be overwhelmed by all this energy that's moving around you at the time, that's affecting other people, other things, the earth and the environment and the universal energy, in order to be able to maintain a better balance, a proper balance, you need to be able to categorize and separate. And the first stage of being able to separate is through awareness. And that allows your brain and your spiritual body to make that separation. Your brain is so incredibly intelligent that when you allow it to have the information of, okay, observe your surroundings, understand, feel your surroundings. You allow yourself to feel and observe that, oh, okay, yep, I get it. I see what you're saying. This is not just happening within my own little world. Then your brain's going, oh, okay, this is an environmental thing. And then it allows you to energetically separate and then compartmentalize from that. So that's why, in a nutshell, that these reports can actually be very helpful, is because you start to, and then the second phase of that is you start to learn how sensitive you are to energies. You start to learn how much these environmental energies actually make you feel a certain way, emotional, physically a certain way. You start to realize the impact that it has on your life, which then brings you to kind of a third phase, which is super cool on its own, which is when you start realizing how much of an impact energies make in your life, you can now take that into your own hands and start manifesting or directing energy in a more purposeful way, When you're unaware, what happens is you start to feel like it's your own personal environment. You start to then react based on that. And usually fear, worry, frustrations, different things start to manifest or create out of this, what you feel like is a personal energetic environment thing going on. And then now you've projected that into the future. So what you're essentially doing is you're directing the energy to continue on in that same pattern, now specifically to your life. So you've taken all these outside aspects of what really wasn't personal energy, it was environmental energy. You brought that into your life. If you're unaware, you start to create that as your personal energy, and then you direct it forward into the future and into the forefront as creating that personal energy to continue along that same vibration. That again is why it's so important to learn to separate. We don't want to take that environmental energy and then take that on as personal energy and then direct it as future energy for our personal existence and personal energy, personal life, right? We don't want to do that. It's not helpful, doesn't feel good. We just don't want to do that. But a lot of times it takes going through this process to realize, oh, I really am like that. Oh, it really does affect my life, and I'm more sensitive than I realize, because it's not something you talk about. It's not something you come home and go like, hey, how's the energy of your day, right? Except for that we actually do that in my house, but we literally do that. We do that here, but we're very all hyper aware of the energy. Even my husband or, will be like, wow, the energy was super weird today, Now we've got my trainer coming in going, how's the energy today? Are the stars aligned? Is everything aligned okay? What's happening? It's like, it was so funny. Anyways, let's get into what's currently happening with this energy, this environmental energy, so that you can learn to separate it from your personal energetic space, right? Okay. So what's happening right now is a few different things. There is a lot of frustration with people and interactions with people right now. So you may find that you're frustrated with people, or they're frustrated with you, or that your interactions with them are like kind of, you're having some, sandpaper type interactions where you're rubbing each other the wrong way. You are feeling frustrated with their actions, they're feeling frustrated with your actions, or one of you or people around you is frustrated for you don't know what, you don't know why. And so you may find that interactions with people right now, whether it be people around you or yourself and others, this frustration type energy. Keep in mind, that's not going to be a personal environmental thing. It's going to be where everybody's being affected by this energy, and then they behave accordingly, right? Because then they start to bring that into their own personal life, etc. The other thing is feeling the vibe of people right now is going to be off the charts. So your people's vibes are really more intense than normal. So your psychic senses, your intuitive senses, you're probably going to notice that you're really going to be feeling people's emotional vibe really strongly right now. Whether they're and especially if they are feeling angry, anxious, having anxiety, being like fearful, feeling edgy, because we have this frustrating energy going on right now. So that's you're probably most likely going to be feeling a lot of that around you, just everywhere. Grocery store, gas station, I don't know, Costco, Walmart, wherever, even just dinner, or it doesn't matter, friends, family, phone calls, in person. You're probably going to notice and feel the people's energy more right now, and that are aligning with, I want to add, the ones that you're feeling the most right now, unfortunately, are going to be the ones that are aligning with anger, frustration, and anxiety. Not that that might be directed at you, you just may notice their vibe is kind of carrying that frequency with them. So you'll be hyper aware, those people, you'll be hyper aware of those people on your radar. The other thing, which is not my favorite, is there's a lot of weird dreams going on right now. So, when you're dreaming, if you don't know this, I'm not going to go into this on this podcast. You'll want to check out some of the other ones, my dreaming podcasts. But that is when we're really tuned in and tapped into this new dimensional energy. And that new dimensional energy it's almost like everything's kind of crisscrossing through old and new and all this kind of stuff. And so it's developing a lot of really weird dreams, strange dreams. You might find that you're not sleeping the best right now, just feeling off kilter at night. I feel like my whole world's kind of flip-flopped where I'm, kind of like a baby. You feel like tired daytime, up at nighttime, but wanting to sleep at nighttime, and wanting to stay up in daytime, but everything's kind of upside down world. So everything's a little bit off kilter when it comes to sleeping and dreaming and sleeping patterns. That's kind of had a jolt in it lately. The next thing that is really happening with people is high anxiety. There's been a real lot of high anxiety energy right now. It's off the charts. It's you might be waking up with it. Anxiety that's not necessarily related to anything, because everything might be sort of basically calm in your world, or your brain, if you get a handle on it for a minute, might be going, this isn't matching, because everything's feeling like it's pretty lined out. Everything feels pretty okay, like it's going in a decent direction, but yet I have this anxious feeling. This anxiety is higher than it should be, especially in the morning. But I'm finding that it's typically kind of roller coasterish through the day. So sometimes we'll just have it during higher in morning, higher at night. But this anxiety wave is kind of coming in, going, and then coming and going and coming and going throughout the day. So you're probably gonna, especially if you struggle with anxiety, you're probably gonna find that it's really up and then down, and then up again and then down again. So you're gonna find that it's kind of very roller coastery through the day. The last thing that you're really going to notice, and then I'm going to get into some stuff that you're really going to be wanting to do right now with this energy. But the last thing is really high emotional energy. And that kind of ties in with a lot of this other stuff that I've been talking about. The energy is just really charged with emotional energy right now. So you may find that you're feeling potentially upset, sad, even like bursting into tears for no reason, just feeling very emotionally like expressive, where you're feeling, you might feel anger emotional, but a lot of just like, maybe, like I said, maybe you burst into tears, or you're just feeling emotional, overwhelmed. So it's the energy is really high emotional energy right now, super high, intense emotional energy, which, if you're not looking at this just specifically in your own world, and you realize that some of the people you're dealing with, you're dealing with frustrated people and people who are anxious and having anxiety or anger, and then they're also experiencing high emotions. It's the perfect storm. You can see how this all sort of works together. They're probably not sleeping very well. They're probably having weird dreams. They're tuned into this weird energy. They're having other interactions with people, or being around people that are frustrating them, or they're having frustrating interactions with people. They're dealing with their own anxieties. They're feeling emotional. They don't know why. It's just this great time, right? So awesome. That being said, great. Now I told you all the good stuff, right? So what are you wanting to do right now? So there's some very specific things that you will want to make a point to do during this time. One of them is along the lines of mind mapping, writing, or reflecting. Now, I haven't really talked about this on energy reports before, but this is going to be very, very, very important. Whether you're writing down daily goals, things that you're grateful for, daily mantras, how to shift your energy. I would write down, gosh, if you're in the Empowered Empath course, there's a ton of worksheets that are just specifically built around doing this type of thing. It's your daily worksheets, your weekly worksheets. Go into that portion of the class because there's a lot that you will be able to utilize with that Empowered Empath course right now. But the thing that happens when you start mind mapping and or writing and reflecting and really putting things down on paper, or I guess you could do it on your phone or whatever, what happens that people don't think about is when you're working with energy is people always say, well, this, I talk about this when I talk about spirit journaling. Sorry, that's going to be a little loud. I talk about this with spirit journaling because it does a lot when it comes to directing energy. So for instance, how we would be utilizing it right now is we would be organizing the energy on paper or on your phone or whatever. And then that is going to then allow that energy to organize and then move forward in a constructive manner. So we are actually proactively organizing and propelling energy forward in a more organized manner with a purpose. We are giving that energy a direction. And when you don't give energy a direction, especially when you are feeling like in a time of chaos, and how I can explain this to you is, let's say that there was like a catastrophe of some sort, like let's pretend like a tornado went through your town or a hurricane or something, and power lines are down and things are flooded, and let's pretend that there was absolutely no organization. None. There wasn't somebody coming in going, okay, we need to get this handled first and then this, get over here and here's your water, here's your food, here's supplies that you need, everybody stay in a line. Now we're going to move to building, or you people go over here and you start pulling out this debris. If there wasn't some organization, you're talking total chaos. Well, we are right in the midst of kind of a chaotic energy wave, a chaotic energetic time frame this week. We're dealing with this weird energy that's sort of chaotic and wanting to wreak havoc and causing some issues. And if you do not give that energy some direction and you do not mind map that energy, categorize it and line it out moving forward, then it will continue to feel chaotic and to manifest in a chaotic manner moving forward. So that's going to be hugely important. So you're taking it and you're actually directing it by writing down. People have it is much harder for you to just sit down and just simply direct energy via the mind and do a meditation. If you can do that, wonderful, great, do that. But a lot of people have a hard time doing that. And the effectiveness of directing and lining out energy when you're mind mapping, writing, or reflecting, and you're putting it actually down, it's really powerful. It very powerfully directs energy. And unless you've mastered the technique of meditating and kind of lining it out while you're just chilling, then I would suggest that at this point in time, for this week anyways, the next couple weeks, you definitely commit to organizing and directing that energy down on paper somehow. I want to also reiterate the importance right now of making the conscious effort of sitting quietly in the morning for a minute and consciously connecting with positive energy. I would try to, if I was you, I would make a point to set an alarm on your phone that just says positivity or connect to the positive at least 3 times a day for the next week and a half or so. And just have it, remind you to consciously connect with the positive energy at that point in time. Because even myself, who's been dealing with this for most of my life, who I've been very aware of this, I personally have been making a point to consciously check my alignment during the week and during the day. I've been making a point to consciously make sure that I'm not veering off course and I'm aligning with positive energy. So I am feeling very strongly about this, because if there's a day that you forget this, you're going to notice. So you definitely want to be lining that out in the morning. There is a lot of background noise today, and I don't know why. Of course, it's every time I do a podcast. Anyways, so you want to sit quietly, calm the body, calm the breathing, breathe deeply through the nose. Yes, this is important. It's something that I have never stressed as important before. It is important now because of this high energy, this anxiety type energy. You're going to need to calm the body more than normal, and that means breathing through the nose. That calms the body down. So you're going to want to do that and take some time to just feel and connect in with positivity in your life. Connect in with positive energy, anything that makes you feel good. Connect in with positive future energy, pulling energy from the future and really feeling things work out for you, feeling things positively go in a direction that you want it to go, feeling stress relief as you move into positive energy, because a lot of people are feeling stuck right now. There are these repetitive patterns. There's a lot of patterns repeating themselves right now that you might find yourself feeling frustrated and feeling like you're stuck in the mud and you're not making any progress. And that's why you're going to want to sit and be anything that you're feeling stuck in the mud with, anything that you feel like you're not progressing, anything along those lines. When you do your conscious connection to positive energy, you want to feel a different outcome. You want to imagine, just daydream it, just pretend like there's going to be a different outcome. Just feel it, align with it, imagine it, embrace it, just enjoy it for those minutes of the day, and do that several times a day. The other thing that I want to point out is a lot of times when we have all this energetic stuff going on, now that's a time to do, make changes, organize, do this, do that, like really, be proactive. The energy right now, manifesting is overpowering the doing. I don't know if I said that right, but manifesting energy, I would say, if you're wanting to truly get something done, like let's say, for instance, I'm going to be probably moving one office into another office, something like that, a task, an outcome, spend more time manifesting and sitting with planning it, feeling it, mind mapping it, that's a tongue twister, writing it down, aligning with the energy of the outcome, and truly just sitting with the manifestation and truly developing this alignment with your outcome that you want. Spend 70% of your time doing that and 30% of your time then doing the actual act. So that's not a normal thing, but it is a thing for this next couple weeks, is you want to spend a lot of time in the place of projecting the energy and manifesting, and then the smaller amount of the time in the doing. And what's going to happen is the doing is going to get done just as fast and more productively at this point in time as you're harnessing this manifestation energy moving forward. So you're harnessing the manifestation energy, and you, I guess some people would be thinking it's doing versus not doing, but what I actually view it as and see it as doing, and how it works in my life is that manifesting is a huge part of the doing. It's kind of, you're kind of prepping the universe for when you get to the doing part. It's already sort of happening. Your doing part is already aligning with that energy you've already spent throwing out in front of you. So it's kind of like you've already prepped everything by the manifestation and the manifestation energy. And then when you get to the doing, everything goes more smoothly. The outcome is better. It works quicker, faster, better. So spend a lot of time with manifestation energy right now, with manifestation prepping, with prepping your future, manifesting and thinking, mind mapping, writing, reflecting. That is where you're going to want to spend a lot of your time right now, is making sure that you are laying the groundwork energetically for as we're moving forward in the next couple weeks and action is beginning to take place. Okay? So hopefully you found that helpful. Good luck. Hang in there. It's not all bad. We got this really cool manifesting thing going on right now, and we're laying groundwork. We're going to make sure you're doing the groundwork, mind mapping, writing, reflecting, connecting with positive energy consciously several times a day. Don't forget to set your alarm. And manifesting takes priority over doing. That doesn't mean don't do, it means lay the groundwork, right? Because next few weeks you're going to be doing the doing. So hopefully you found that helpful. Comment below, subscribe. I do read the comments. If I don't get to all of them, I do read them. And let me know if you found this helpful. And if you're interested in getting more into the worksheets and all that kind of stuff, don't forget to check out Empath University, Empath U. And until next time, have the most amazing day. Aloha.
Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet.
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.